Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is lecture 7 in the Writing 103 course, and today we'll talk about telling a story, how to tell a story. The lecture components for this lecture: we have vocabulary, travel and transportation words, synonyms and antonyms for adjectives, grammar component. We have the simple past tense of irregular verbs. You remember we studied the simple past tense of regular verbs in lecture 6. Under the writing strategies component, we have the time transition words. And the last component is organization, the beginning, middle, and end of a story. We will discuss all of these in detail today. Let's start with the travel, transport, and transportation words, the vocabulary that we use. For example, airplane, airplane. Look at the sentence. The airplane was very comfortable. The airplane was very comfortable. Another transportation means train, train. On Monday we took a train to Long Beach. On Monday we took a train to Jeddah, to Abha. Okay, so we took a train. Ferry, another transportation. It's like a boat, a small ship. The next day we took a ferry and saw the Statue of Liberty. The next day we took a ferry and saw, took and saw. Subway, subway, we don't have subway in Saudi Arabia, but we have subway in Britain and in America. First, we took a subway into the city. A subway is like a train underground. We took a subway into the city. Notice, train, ferry, and subway. Took a train, took a ferry, took a subway. Bus, the same. Later on, we took a bus to Central Park. We took a bus to Dammam. The bus was very crowded. The bus was very crowded. There were a lot of people on the bus. A lot of people on the bus. We got off the bus at the park. We got off. We got off the bus at the park or at the station. We got off the bus in Dammam. And car, Mr. and Mrs. Vega drove us to the airport in their car. They drove us to the airport in their car. I drive my car to work. I drove my car to work yesterday. Okay, more about travel and transportation words. The same. Look at the phrases in red. On Monday we took a train. So we take a train, past tense. We took a train to Long Beach. Can you make a similar sentence? Just change some of the words. Like, on Saturday we took a train to Riyadh. On Saturday we took a train to Riyadh. The next day we took a ferry and saw the Statue of Liberty. We took a ferry. Again, a ferry is like a small ship. It's like a boat. First, we took a subway into the city. Again, look at these three sentences. The verb is took in the three sentences. Took a train, took a ferry, took a subway. What's a subway? It's a train underground. It's like a train underground. Later on, we took a bus to Central Park. We took a bus. Again, the verb took. Notice this sentence. We got off the bus. So you take a bus, then you get off the bus. You leave. You get off the bus at the park. When the bus stops, you get off the bus. Mr. and Mrs. Vega drove us to the airport in their car. So, drive a car. I drive my car to work. I drive my car to university. I drove my car yesterday. I drove my car to work yesterday. Okay? Now, the second item here is time transition words. Time transition words. The words that signal time order. Let's look at the following examples. On Monday, on Saturday, on Wednesday, on Friday. This is a time transition word. We took a train to Long Beach on Monday. When did we take a train? On Monday. The next day, on Tuesday. Monday, Tuesday. The next day, we took a ferry. The next day. First, second, third, fourth. First, we took a subway into the city. First, then second, and so on. Later on. So first, then later on, we took a bus to Central Park. First, then later on. At last, the driver stopped and Maria got off the bus. At last. So, again, all these are time transition words. They are words that signal the order of certain events according to time. First, second, then, after that. Now let's talk about adjectives, and we have talked about adjectives before. In a previous lecture, we talked about them. But today we have synonyms for adjectives. What do we mean by synonym? What is a synonym? A synonym or synonyms are words that have the same meaning or close to the same meaning. The same meaning or close to the same meaning. For example, very interesting. This is an adjective. Interesting. You remember very interesting. Very is an adverb. Interesting is the adjective. What does very interesting mean? It means amazing. So, very interesting and amazing have the same meaning. Look at the example. The view was amazing. The view was very interesting. Almost the same meaning. Another example. Unusual is another adjective and it means strange. So unusual and strange are synonyms, which means they have the same meaning. Look at the example. Something was strange. Something was unusual. The same meaning. Frightening. Frightening. What does it mean? Scary. It makes you afraid. When something is frightening or scary, it makes you afraid. For example, Maria is never going to forget her scary bus trip. Scary, frightening. So scary and frightening are synonym adjectives. Very good means also great. These are also two synonyms. An example, we had a great time. You can say we had a very good time, right? So we have these two words are synonyms. Very tired. What does very tired mean? it means exhausted. The same meaning. Tired, very tired, and exhausted are synonyms. We were very tired. We were exhausted. This is the same meaning. Bright and sunny, two synonyms. The weather was clear and sunny. So you can say the weather was clear and bright. Right, you are right. So sunny and bright have the same meaning. These are 3 web pages with exercises on synonyms for adjectives. You can learn more by visiting these web pages. I do advise you to visit these addresses and learn more about synonyms. Now, the opposite of synonyms is antonyms. Antonyms. And here we are talking about adjectives. What do you mean by an antonym? For example, good and bad. They are not the same. They have opposite meaning. They have contrasting meanings. So, antonyms are words that have opposite meanings. Again, like good and bad. Look at these 2 adjectives, boring and exciting. Do they have the same meaning? No. They have opposite meanings. Boring does not mean exciting. So, they are antonyms. Example, we had an exciting time. Can you say we had a boring time? No, because the meaning is different. How can you use boring in the same sentence? We can say we didn't have a boring time. Cloudy and clear. They are not the same. They have opposite meanings. The weather was clear. The weather was not cloudy. The weather was clear. It was not cloudy. Empty and crowded. Empty and crowded. The bus was very crowded, or the bus was empty. No, they don't have the same meaning. Crowded, it means full of people. There were a lot of people in the bus. So the bus was very crowded means the bus was full of people. The bus was not empty. Careless means or doesn't mean careful. It means the opposite of careful. So careless and careful have opposite meanings because they are antonyms, not synonyms. She was very careful. She was not careless. She was very careful. In danger, and the opposite is safe. Safe. In the end, Maria was safe. She was not in danger. One more example. Uncomfortable and comfortable. You see, the airplane was very comfortable. It wasn't uncomfortable. Okay, so in these 2 slides, we studied the synonyms for adjectives and the antonyms. Again, what are the synonyms? Okay, they are words that have the same meaning or close to the same meaning. But antonyms are words that have opposite meanings. They do not mean the same, like good and bad, boring and exciting. Again, here we have more web pages for you to understand and to learn more about the antonyms for adjectives. We have 3 web pages. Again, I do advise you to visit these pages and do the exercises there. Now, let's go back to the travel phrases. We started this at the beginning of today's lecture. Look, for example, we have 9 verbs 9 verbs in the first column. Take, and the past is took. Visit, visited. Fly, flew. Arrive, arrived. Meet, met. Go, went. Get, got. Come, came. Drive, drove. So we have the present or the base form of the verb take, and we have the past took. Now in the second column we have 9 complements. Okay, 9 complements. Let's try and match them together. For example, number 1, look at number 1, it goes with E. We say take a trip. So he took a trip. Can you say this in a sentence? He took a trip to Jeddah. He took a trip to London. Look at the second one. Visit, visited. Okay. Can you choose another one? Can you choose another one for visit? Visit, visit what? Okay. We have friends in another city. I want you to try and do this by yourselves. It's very easy. But now let's move to another slide about the same topic. Okay, number 1, my family took a trip to New York City last summer. Can you write a similar sentence? Please try and write a similar sentence. My family or my friends took a trip to Abha last summer, or last winter, or last spring. Okay, so you can change the words and keep the same structure. Another sentence, we visited friends in another city. We visited friends in another city. Can you make a sentence like this? Okay, I visited my friend in Riyadh. I visited my grandfather in Jeddah. Number 3, we flew by plane. We flew to New York on Sunday morning. Okay, try and make a similar sentence. We, or I, or he, or she. We flew to what? We flew to Riyadh, to Dammam, on Saturday morning, on Monday morning. We arrived at 3 p.m. We arrived at 3 p.m. When did we arrive? We arrived at 3 p.m. Notice the 4 sentences, these 4 sentences are all in the past. Took, visited, flew, and arrived. Number 5, Mr. and Mrs. Vega met us at the airport. Met, the past of meet, the past tense of meet. Where did they meet us? At the airport. Number 6, on Friday we went sightseeing. We went sightseeing. Sightseeing means when you go to a city for the first time, you go and walk or drive around the city to see its buildings, its streets, its monuments. So we went sightseeing on Friday. Number 7, we got off the bus at the park. Got off. You know the meaning of got off the bus? So we left the bus. Number 8, we came back to Los Angeles the next day. Saturday, the next day is Sunday. Sunday, what's the next day? Monday. So we came back, not back, we don't say we back, we came back to Los Angeles the next day. Now again, look at these 8 sentences, and we have one more sentence. Mr. and Mrs. Vega drove us to the airport. Drove us by car. not by train. They drove us to the airport. Again, look at these phrases in red. They are all in the past and they are all travel phrases. You have to learn them. Now let's talk about the simple past tense of irregular verbs. You remember in the last lecture, lecture 6, we talked about the simple past of regular verbs like walk, walked, shop, shopped, play, played, study, studied. This is something we studied in lecture 6. Now for today, we have the irregular verbs. For example, take. What's the past tense of take? Took. See. What's the past tense of see? Saw. So, I saw him last week. I took a train to the Dammam last week or yesterday. So, and here we have a list of some irregular verbs. Look at this list or this table. Take. What's the past tense of take? Take, took. Okay? I want you to study this table or list and remember it. Take, took. Are. What's the past tense? Where. Is, was. Fly, flew. Meet, met. Swim, swam. Eat, ate. Have, had. Go, went. Run, ran. Come, came. Drive, drove. Get, got. So we have 14 verbs in the present and in the past. Try to make sentences using these verbs in the past. For example, let's look at number 7. Ate, ate. Eat, ate. Can you put this in a sentence? What did you eat this morning? Or what did you eat yesterday? I ate a sandwich for dinner. I ate a sandwich for dinner. Okay? Another verb, for example, number 11, run, ran. Can you put this in a sentence in the past? I ran yesterday. I ran to the shop yesterday. Okay, so try and make sentences using these verbs in the past. More about this, we have examples here. They took, take, took. They took a trip to New York. Notice we are talking about past events, something that happened in the past, yesterday or last week or 2 days ago. Okay, notice this, the negative. How do we negate the simple past tense? We know this from lecture 6 also. They didn't take, not took. They didn't take a trip to San Francisco. They took a trip to New York. Another sentence, we were very excited before the trip. The negative, we weren't bored. Were, weren't. So easy. The weather was clear. The weather was clear. The weather was not cloudy. We flew to New York. We flew by plane to New York. How do you negate this? Try. We didn't, what, fly or flew? We didn't fly to San Francisco. We flew, we didn't fly. Another example, they met us at the airport. Met, meet, met. Negative, they didn't, what? Meet us at the bus station. They met us at the airport. Number 6, we swam in the sea. Swam, swim, swam. We didn't swim in the river. Swim, swam, didn't swim. We ate watermelon. We didn't eat mango. We saw the Statue of Liberty. We didn't see. Number 9, we had an exciting time. We didn't have a boring time. So this is how we negate the past. Here you have 4 pages, 4 web pages about the simple past tense. This is very important. I want you to go there and check the exercises and do them. Now let's move to something else, which is about the organization of the story. You remembered we talked in lecture 6 about the writing and how to organize writing. Now here we have, when we write a story, it must be organized. It must have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Look at this. This is a paragraph, and this is another paragraph, and the third paragraph. How many paragraphs do we have? We have 3 paragraphs. In this paragraph, these 3 paragraphs, Francisco is talking about a trip he took with his family to New York. Notice the first sentence. My family took a trip to New York City. Most of these sentences, we studied them in the previous lecture, in the previous slides today. My family took a trip to New York City. Now, this paragraph is the beginning. What do we have in the beginning? We will discuss this in the following slide. Now, the second paragraph is the middle, and the last paragraph is the end. The end. Let's discuss them one by one. The beginning. What do we have in the beginning? Look at these sentences. My family took a trip to New York City. Okay, questions. Where did we go? New York City. Why did we travel? Why did we go to New York City? Look at the paragraph. We visited my father's friends, Mr. and Mrs. Vega. We traveled there to visit some people. So we have the place and the reason. New York, to visit friends. How did we feel? Happy, sad, excited? Look at sentence 3. We were very excited before we left. Very excited, like happy. How did we travel to New York City? By car, by bus, or what? It was our first trip to New York City. We flew to New York City or to New York. We flew by plane on Sunday morning. When did we travel? On Sunday morning. How was the journey? The weather was clear and sunny. The airplane was comfortable. This is the journey. When did we arrive? We arrived at about 3 p.m. Where did we stay? Where did we stay? In a hotel? Mr. and Mrs. Vega met us at the airport. We stayed with them. We stayed with them for 1 week. So in the beginning we have an introduction about the place, okay? And we have about how we traveled and how we felt. How did we go there? By bus, by train, etc. This is the beginning of the story. Now, in the second paragraph, which is the middle, which is usually longer, look at this paragraph. It's a bit longer than the previous one, and it answers some questions. What did we do in New York? Where did we go? How did we travel? Did we have a good time? What was special about the trip? Notice, what did we do? We didn't have much free time. For example, on Monday we took the train. This is what we did there. We swam and ate watermelon. The next day we took a ferry. All these sentences are about action, what we did there and where we went. How did we travel? By bus, by car, by train, by underground, subway. Did we have a good time? Notice the view was amazing, for example, and look at the last two sentences. At last the bus driver stopped. This is a story that happened with Maria. Okay. Now the last part is the end. Look at this paragraph. It's shorter and it answers some questions. When did we come back? So this is about coming back. How did we travel back? Is it by car, by bus? When did we get home? What time? How did we feel? And did we have a good time? All these questions are answered in this paragraph. Okay? Now, the following slide is about time transition words. We have some transition words here: during, later on, in the end, in the next or the next day, at last, before, after that, and finally. The Garcia family was very excited. What? Okay, let's look at the sentences. We have 8 sentences. I want you to try and do them by yourself. Thank you very much for being with me today in this lecture, and I will meet you in the next lecture soon.